Good evening, students. Now let us start the class STEM. Last day we finished the general characters, functions and modifications of root. Today we take up the STEM, these characteristics and also modifications, and the functions of STEM will deal now. First let us see what is the shoot system. Though you know, we have to repeat again. The shoot system, the portion of the plant which grows above the ground, is known as this one, and shoot system it is having the stem, the center trunk is the stem, and the branches, flowers, fruits, etc. The term stem is applicable to the trunk and its branches. Next let us see the characteristics of the stem. As I told you already, the stem is aerial. It is found above the soil or above the ground, above the land. Generally cylindrical. It is green in color when young. When it becomes old, you will get the brown color. This is positively phototropic. In other words, negatively geotropic. Presence of nodes and internodes, and the presence of leaves. And in the case of a node, I think you know the place where the leaves develop or branches develop, and the internode means the distance between two successive nodes. The presence of leaves, here you can find exogenous. The other day in the case of lateral roots, I told you they develop from the pericycle, so the origin is endogenous. But here the leaves are present from the superficial cells of the epidermis, so these are called exogenous. Presence of terminal bud, it gives the vertical growth, and axillary bud, they give the lateral growth. Regarding the forms of stem, it a bit difficulty, but you remember and you have to note down these things. The forms of stem, the stems are divided into weak stems and woody stems. The weak stems again classified into erect. Though it is a weak plant, it may be erect and straight and creeping, just prostrating on the ground, and some plants they climb with the help of support. So the erect plants may be classified into two types: culms, bamboo, and pseudo stem. Actually it is not a stem, it is looking like a stem, just like in banana. And creeping plants on the ground, those are procumbent and decumbent. I will explain later. Regarding the climbing plants, they, with the help of support and special organs, they used to climb around the support. So these are tuners, tendril climbers, stragglers, and lianes. So remember the weak form stems and woody stems. Now let us see the weak stems. So the weak stem, you have erect forms. Those are, one is the culm and there is pseudo stem. The culms include the bamboo and sugarcane, etc. That is solid nodes and having long internodes. They are just like jointed like, and hollow stem. Inside the stem is not strong, it is loosely arranged. And the second one you can see in Musa, that is banana. There you can find the true stem is underground, rhizome. And the aerial stem is formed by the concentrically arranged leaf sheaths or sheathing leaf bases. It is look like a stem. In Musa, it is not a stem at all, so it is called pseudo stem. Now you will see these two. So the first diagram you see, the bamboo, it is familiar to you. There you can find a long internodes and hollow in the center. That is a bamboo, that is called culm. And in Musa, this is a pseudo stem that lead it sheathing leaf bases or concentrically or overlapping one together and forming a stem here. Next, creeping stems. Creeping, that is two types, procumbent and decumbent. In the procumbent, the stem creeps over the soil surface throughout its length. The total length of the plant is on the surface of the land, and whereas in decumbent, the stems are creeping over the soil surface to certain length, and the terminal part of the stem raises erect. This you can find in Tridax, the photographs you will see, and the procumbent, tribulus and molugo. The first one, procumbent, you will see, there you can find it is completely prostrate on the ground, tribulus. The second one, the tridax, you will see that is prostrate for some time and the terminal part raises and giving the inflorescence. The next, the climbing plants. These climbing plants are again classified into 4 types. Those are twinners, tendril climbers, stragglers and lianes. A twinner is one without any special organs. The stem itself coils around the support and climbs up. In this we have 2 types depend upon the way in which it is climbing over the stem. In Dioscorea it is called dextrose climbing, that is a clockwise. On the support it twines in a clockwise way, whereas in bean sinistrose type it is anti-clockwise way. The diagram we'll see later. And the second one is a tendril climbers. This tendril climber, with the help of special organs, it climbs over the support. It is a long, wiry, sensitive structure that holds the support by coiling around the support. So that is called, any hold is there, any support is there, it twins. That is called thigmotropism, that you will learn second year. So here the first one, the Dioscorea, you can see the climbing in a clockwise way, that in Dioscorea clockwise, that is dextrose, running like this. Whereas in bean you observe where you can find sinistrose type of way you can find. Here you can find the reverse way you can find on this one. Here you can find in a clockwise. Clockwise you can find, here you can find anti-clockwise you can find in bean. The third one is a straggler. Stragglers means nothing, with the help of hooks or spines they climb around the support. With the help of hooks or spines. Here the examples of Arthrobotrys and Bougainvillea are there. They climb with the help of these the spines, and Arthrobotrys with the hooks. Liane is a technical term. This is woody twinners are called lianes. It is a twinner actually, but it is very strong. It around the support it will go. The Bauhinia vallei, and second one is the netum. The netum is a gymnosperm. Now let us see the photographs of these stragglers. So here the first one, Arthrobotrys, you can find a hook is found here, a hook is there here, you can find a hook. With the help of those hooks it will climb, and whereas in Bougainvillea you can find the hook like structures, a bend is there in the hook, so those are called the hooks. With the help of these it will climb on the support. Next. So we finished the weak stemmed. Now you will see the woody stemmed plants. So these woody stemmed plants are divided into 3 types based on the appearance from a long distance. If you happen to see some plants, these are called deliquescent, looking like umbrella like structure, umbrella shaped. Example, you can find tamarindus. If you see our mango tree or ficus tree, from a long distance if you happen to see, it looks like an umbrella shape. The second one is excurrent. It is cone shaped. Example, you can find Polyalthea and Casuarina. The third one, that is called caudex. It is long, stout and no branches, without branches. See, long, stout, unbranched. You note down, unbranched with a crown of leaves at the tip. Example, coconut plant and palmyra plant. So based on the shape only, the woody plants are classified deliquescent and excurrent and caudex. So you can see the long distance. See, you can find this is a round shape, deliquescent shape. You can have here a cone shape. You can find excurrent, and caudex you have a long stem with a crown of leaves at the tip. Now let us see the functions of the stem. So here the main functions are support, because the stem has to bear other vegetative, reproductive organs, branches, leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. It has to bear, so it gives a support. The second one, very essential part, that is called the transportation of water, minerals from root to other parts of the plant. The root gives absorption of water and mineral, whereas this stem supply to different parts of the plant. That is the main function. Some specialized functions by some modifications or the storage. So now you can learn later, some plants like sugarcane and potato, they store food materials. and ginger and potato, they are also used for vegetative propagation. Another is called the perennation. Perennation is a very good term that you have to learn. That is the underground stems below the ground, they tide over the unfavorable conditions, and whenever the conditions are favorable, they germinate and give the leaves, etc., prepare food material, and death of the plant takes place. But the underground stem remain years together. That process is called the perennation. Most of the underground stems have this capacity of perennating years together. So regarding the modifications, here also a very big table we have. The aerial stem modifications, subaerial stem modifications, and underground stem modifications. So we will see these technical terms and I will deal one by one. The first, aerial stem modifications, there you can find some stems. Part of the stems are modified into tendrils. They may be modified into what's called hooks or thorns, and they may be modified into leaf-like to carry the photosynthesis. And cladode is the modification restricted to an internode, we will learn later, and bulbils or vegetative buds, they are modified. The second one, subaerial modification. Subaerial means, aerial means above the ground, subaerial means on the surface of the ground. Such modifications, runner, stolon, sucker, offset. Regarding the underground modifications, rhizome, corm, tuber, and bulb. Now let us see one by one. Now let us see the aerial modifications. So regarding the aerial modifications, we have this thorns, tendrils already discussed. This terminal bud or axillary bud may modify it into tendril, like scissors, etc. Scissors, terminal bud is modified. In Passiflora, the axillary bud is modified into the tendrils. The second one, you have thorns. Thorns, these are strong, straight, sharp, pointed structures arising from either terminal bud, example Carissa, or axillary bud, citrus and bougainvillea, and those spines protect the plant from herbaceous animals or grazing animals. So in the first diagram you can see that is Carissa, where you can find the terminal bud is modified into, in here you can have spines. The second one, in citrus etc., bougainvillea, the axillary bud is modified into, here you can have this axillary bud is modified into spine-like structure for protection. In bougainvillea also you can have, these are the spines, modified stem. The next we will have pillowclade. I told you already here, pillowclade, when these are xerophytic plants where the water is very less, so they reduce the leaves. And stem is modified into a leaf-like structure. And leaves are modified into spines. That type of modification is called pillowclade. Pillowclade means, pilla means leaf, clade means stem. So the stem is modified into a leaf. So here cladophyll, both are same, where the stem is modified into a leaf-like structure and leaves are modified into spines, opuntia. And the second one is the pillowclade, that is called cladode, both are same, pillowclade. Here the cladode is the correct one, but people using this word also. Cladode means what happened, it is restricted to only internode. Here the total stem is modified here, whereas here the modification to one internode only. The leaves are modified, the stems are modified. See, look here, this is the stem, the branches are modified into leaf-like structures. As looking like this is the stem, these are the leaves, not like that. Actually these are modified branches. That is called cladode. You can find in asparagus. The next one, bulbil. Bulbil is nothing but modified stem parts, modified into stout, thick and fleshy reproductive structures. They develop in the axis of the leaf, sometimes tip of the plants, and they may be removed and develop into new plants. The first diagram we have, the terminal bud is modified here, that is in agave. The first diagram is the agave. In second one, the axillary buds. The axillary buds are modified into bulbils Here you can find the axillary buds. They will be removed, develop into new plants. Next, subaerial stem modifications. So we discussed the subaerial modifications are of 4 types. First is the runner. The name itself indicating the runner, it runs on the ground. It runs on the ground. See, it has a long internodes, slender stems. In the lower side, you can find a bunch of roots develop, and above you can have a bunch of leaves develop. In this way, it spreads complete to the area. The stem has long and thin internodes, and branches creep over the surface of the soil. They develop adventitious roots from the lower sides of the nodes. From the axis of the scale leaves, leaves develop above. And runner grows in all directions from the mother plant. On detachment, here you can find one more plant. On detachment, it will develop into an individual plant. So, for this vegetative propagation, example oxalis, another example hydrocotyle. You can see now. So, here the first diagram, this is the oxalis plant. The leaves are also used as vegetables, green vegetable, and here it spreads the total area. So here the diagram is given. There you can find whenever it grounds, ground below you can find a bunch of roots, and above you can find bunch of leaves are there, and also having long internode, it spreads to the area. Now next one is the sucker. Here it is all just like a modified runner. In this originates as lateral branches underground, and they will grow up to the distance and develop into a new plant. See, look here. The plant is the ground. The ground inside also a part of soil is below the ground. From this a branch develops obliquely and come up and develop into a new plant. See, again telling, the stem is partly in the ground. Branches, lateral branches develop from the underground stem and grow obliquely and come above and develop into a new plant, that is called a sucker. This you can see in chrysanthemum and mentha, this type of development, that is called sucker. See, here you can see the chrysanthemum plant, the normal plant. Here a branch comes below the ground and grows obliquely and come up and develop into a new plant like this. This you can find in chrysanthemum and mint. It is a stolon, just a stolon. Generally you can find jasmine plants, etc. The plant is like this. After that, by accidentally or generally touch the ground, bend. Wherever it bends, there you can find the development of roots takes place. So it is used for vegetative propagation. So aerial branches which produce roots whenever they contact soil are called stolons. So whenever they contact the soil, they form roots below, and then the branch again develop into a new plant. It's just like a bend only, just like a bend. Whenever it bend on the ground, the roots develop and it will separate. If you separate, it will develop into a new plant. The next one is the offset. Offset is nothing but a runner on the surface of the water. It is also having long internodes and nodes. From nodes you can a bunch of roots below and a bunch of leaves above. In the same way, it is also with the help of axillary buds you can find lateral branches and completely spread the area. If you find example pistia and acornia, generally these two plants ground in the what's called as the tanks in the villages, etc., and within no time completely to spread the surface, and it will give what's called eutrophication, and the animals, etc., found in the ground or low level or below the water, they will die, and you get a foul smell in those things. So these are nothing but a runner on the surface of the water, a runner on the surface of the water. Next we will have underground stem modifications. The underground modifications, foliage bearing capacity lost, no leaves, growing in the underground, growing below the soil, store food material, become fleshy, vegetative propagation, used for vegetative propagation and protect from the herbivores. They are non-green due to lack of chloroplast, and scale leaves and nodes and internodes, and they are having adventitious roots. So these are the characteristics of underground stems. Foliage leaves you can never find on the underground stem. They can find after germination After growing, they will develop the leaves outside. Up to that, they lost the power and they grow below, develop below, store food material, becomes fleshy. We use it for vegetative propagation, protection from herbivorous plants. They are non-green due to lack of chloroplast, and they having scale leaves and nodes and internodes, and the roots are adventitious. The first one you have the rhizome. The rhizome is horizontal. If it is ground is like this, they are horizontal below the ground, horizontal below the ground, and they are having nodes and internodes, and they have scale leaves, and at the terminal part they have a terminal bud. At each node they have axillary bud, and whenever the condition is favorable, it germinates, grows and give the leaves at each node, and below you can have adventitious roots. Adventitious roots. After the end of the season, they store food material and dry and die. But the inner part, the rhizome, remains in the ground. That is called perennation. Example, ginger and turmeric. So the ginger plant, this diagram is given here. There you can find the each node. It is called, each scar is called a node. In between you have internode, and you have terminal bud here. And at seasons it germinate and give the leaves, etc. It store food material. And below you have adventitious roots. Adventitious roots. The next you have this corm. It is also an underground stem, but it grows vertically below the ground. Ground is like this, it grows vertically, and it is also having nodes and internodes, axillary buds, terminal buds, etc. Whenever in the season they give leaves and store food material, and leaves dry. So here grows vertically in the soil, placed at particular depth by contractile roots. They have a little small roots are there. They store food material, tuberous, having scale leaves, nodes and internodes, axillary bud, etc. And terminal bud also present here. Example, Amorphophallus colocasia. These two are examples for this corm. Regarding the underground stems, the third one is the tuber. Here you can find the lower branches. If this is the stem, the lower branches develop and at the tip enlarges. It tip enlarges and this branch grows, so automatically they will enter into the ground. They will enter into the ground. Look here, this is the soil surface. This is the soil surface. The potato tubers are below the soil. That is the branches only. This is the stem branches, not a root. Stem branches. See, swollen tip, specialized underground branch, round or oval with outer brown color periderm. Outer brown color is that layer is known as periderm. Store food materials in the form of starch, and they are having eyes. You see in the second diagram, each depression is known as an eye. Each eye represents a scale leaf and an axillary bud. Scale leaf and axillary bud. Scale leaf and axillary bud. So this is the structure. So each one is a node. Each scale eye is a node. So you can cut into different pieces. Each piece will develop into a new plant. So depressions possess a minute semi-lunar leaf scar and an axillary bud. So visit used for vegetative reproduction. Another important thing here, no adventitious roots develop in the tuber. No adventitious roots from the tuber. This is another important thing when compared to the rhizome and corm. Example, potato and Helianthus tuberosus is another example. And the last one is the bulb. It is underground stem reduced into a conical or biconvex shape. This one is the stem. This is only the stem. So this stem bears a number of adventitious roots below, and above you can find a number of scale leaves that are overimposed one by one and concentrically arranged. Disc with adventitious roots, leaves develop on upper side and grow above the soil. Leaf bases store food and water. Fleshy axillary buds produce, and the daughter buds from the place. Axillary buds, they develop into a daughter buds from it. So this is the structure of the what's called the bulb. But a bulb is of two types. This bulb is two types. We will see next. This one is called the tunicated bulb. So fleshy leaf bases overlap one another in concentric scales, circles, and the entire bulb is covered by dry membranous scale leaf, that is called the tunic. So one by one tunic. So here you can find the small stem, below which you can have number of adventitious roots, and you have a terminal bud. On this you can have number of scale leaves, and this is called a tunicated bulb. Example, onion. The next one is the scaly or imbricate or naked bulb. The second one, see, look here, this is also, as I told you, this is the disc shaped stem, and from this each scale leaf is modified into a single one, and separate. The scale leaves are separate and no cover. Since no cover, it is called a naked bulb. So in the first tunicated, there is a covering is there. Here there is no covering. But whereas if you happen to see the garlic, so both types you have in the garlic. Garlic inside, the scale leaves are separate and also covered. How can you call that bulb? It is an intermediate bulb. See, in garlic, a number of fleshy scale leaves called cloves, those individual one are called the cloves, present, and cloves are enclosed in whitish skinny tunic, that is called tunic, means cover. So it is considered as intermediate bulb. There you can find two characters. So example, garlic. So by this we can finish the stem, and Monday we will start the leaf. Thank you.